The Mauling of Brent Prokulevich. A bear attack, survival story. The wilderness does not forgive mistakes. It doesn't warn you. It doesn't explain itself. 1 second, you're standing in the mist of dawn with your bow in hand, and the next, 300 pounds of fury is tearing into your flesh. This is the true story of Brent Prokulevich, a man who walked the line between life and death in the wilds of Ontario, and against all odds, he lived to tell it. It was September 26, 2011, a quiet, fog-choked morning in Western Ontario. The kind of morning where the forest feels half asleep, wrapped in stillness. Brent, 49 years old, stood at the edge of a dried-up beaver pond, bow hunting for moose. For hours he'd been sending out calls, waiting, listening, hoping. The mist clung to the air, dead poplar trees jutted like skeletal sentinels, and the silence was broken only by the occasional ripple of water. At 8:30 a.m., something shifted. Movement stirred in the willows just 33 yards away. Brent's pulse quickened. His eyes strained through the haze. This was it. He thought a bull moose had finally answered his call. But what emerged from that wall of brush wasn't a moose. It was a black bear. And it wasn't just wandering, it was stalking. The bear locked eyes with him. Brent's body tensed. The air seemed to thicken, time slowing down as primal recognition surged through him. Predator and prey. He raised his bow. The string creaked under the draw. The arrow hissed into flight and struck. But instead of fleeing, the bear roared, reared back, and charged. There was no time to think, no time to run. The bear slammed into him with bone-jarring force, its jaws clamping down on his arm. Brent felt teeth sink through flesh and muscle, grinding against bone. Agony erupted, but instinct took over. He grabbed a second arrow with his free hand and drove it into the bear's side. Again and again. But the black bear was relentless. It swung a massive paw, its claws tearing into his neck, shredding muscle, opening him up. Blood poured down his chest. Brent staggered, vision blurring, every nerve screaming in pain. He thought of his family. He thought of his son. This cannot be the end. Not like this. The battle became pure survival, man against beast, locked in a storm of fury and desperation. Brent stabbed wildly with the arrow, each thrust fueled by raw will to live. And then, as suddenly as it began, the bear faltered. It staggered back, eyes glazed, and collapsed into the grass. Silence fell. The forest swallowed the sound of battle as if it had never happened. Brent stood shaking, drenched in blood, the metallic taste of fear in his mouth. His left arm was shredded, his neck torn open. Every breath was a razor in his chest. But he was alive. He stumbled back through the bush, dragging himself step by step toward camp. Every branch seemed sharper, every shadow darker, but he pressed on, driven by sheer determination. Hours felt like lifetimes before he finally emerged onto the road. Somehow, he made it to safety. When he walked into the hospital, covered head to toe in blood, doctors and nurses froze in shock. His voice was hoarse, his body broken, but his words were steady. "I've been attacked by a bear." Brent Prokulevich should not have survived that day. By all accounts, the odds were stacked against him. A surprise attack, devastating injuries, a predator intent on finishing the kill. But his courage, his willpower, and maybe just a measure of luck kept him breathing. And his story is more than just survival. It's a warning. When you step into bear country, you're no longer at the top of the food chain. Preparation is not optional. Carry bear spray, know how to use it, make noise, stay alert, and above all, respect the wild. Because in those remote places, the line between life and death can be as thin as the fog of dawn. Welcome to Bear Attack Files. If you respect nature, if you want to learn what it takes to survive the unimaginable, subscribe to the channel, share this story with a friend, and join us every week as we uncover the real encounters that remind us why the wilderness must always be respected. And now I'll ask you, what would you have done in Brent's place? Could you fight through the pain, face down a charging bear, and find the will to survive? Or would fear take over? Let me know in the comments below. Your answer might just save a life one day.